Chris Green here with the Flood Insurance Guru, and today we're talking about flood map changes in August 2022. And today we're particularly talking about Jefferson County, Colorado. Today we're going to be talking about, hey, when is this new change going into place? What are some of the impacts going to be? What are your flood insurance options? And can you fight these changes? So first of all, today let's talk about when are these changes going into effect for Jefferson County, Colorado. They're going into place on August 2nd, 2022. So you may be getting a letter from your mortgage company that states that flood insurance is now required. So what are your options for flood insurance then? Well, you've got the National Flood Insurance Program and you've got private flood insurance. Remember, if you have an FHA loan currently as we shoot this video, the National Flood Insurance Program is going to be your only option. Now, there are these things called newly mapped rates. Now, the benefits of newly mapped rates are not as big as they used to be when flood insurance rates were based on flood zones. However, one big thing that's still a factor there is the wait period. Unlike your traditional wait period with the National Flood Insurance Program of 30 days, newly mapped areas only have a 1-day wait period. So that's important to understand because that could be a big impact as you're out there and you're shopping for insurance. But as you're going through the National Flood Insurance Program, you want to make sure they're giving you this newly mapped rate. As I said, one great benefit is the wait period. Then you do have that special rate for the first 12 months. So what about private flood insurance? Well, if you don't have an FHA loan, you may be able to take advantage of private flood insurance. Unlike the National Flood Insurance Program where these rates should be the same everywhere, each private flood insurance company is going to be looking at things differently. Now, what's important to understand with this particular map change in Jefferson County, Colorado, are some properties are being moved into special flood hazard areas. This means they're being moved from X to an A or AE, something that begins with an A. What this means is if you have a mortgage, you're going from non-required to required. Then you've got some properties that are basically staying in. They may be going from a high risk to a high risk. That could mean from an A to an AE. You know, we've seen a lot of flooding in Denver and the Boulder area through the last 5 years. Then you got properties that are being moved from the mandatory area to the non-mandatory. This means you may actually be getting a letter from your mortgage company stating that flood insurance is no longer required. As great as that sounds, you still want to keep this policy in place because 30% of flood claims that happen actually happen in areas where flood insurance is not required. Now let's talk about the last thing, and that is, can you fight this change? That's something we hear from every day from people. Hey, they just changed my flood map, but I don't agree with it. What can I do? Well, this is called a process of letter of map amendment. And this means that you dispute with the National Flood Insurance Program or FEMA that you're not in that high risk area. You know, ways to do this are using an elevation certificate, or maybe you don't have an elevation certificate, looking at a survey to determine if it makes sense to get an elevation certificate. One of the key factors you want to look at is the lowest adjacent grade of your property and its support above the base flood elevation. If it is, you may qualify for this flood zone change. So these are the map updates for Jefferson County, Colorado on August 2nd, 2022. So if you've got questions about these flood map changes, what can you do? Going ahead and starting the process of getting flood insurance in place. Click below, visit our website, floodinsuranceguru.com. Step 1, fill out the form. Step 2, connect with one of our flood education specialists. And step 3 is pick the coverages and the policy that best fits your needs.